Hi friends, welcome back to
I got baked science and baking.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Avery.
And we're back to finish up our last week on why things rise.
Oh.
Last week we talked about thermal expansion. Do you remember what thermal expansion is, Avery?
No.
No. Thermal means heat. And when something expands, it
grows.
Good job.
Like when I go to bed, that means you grow higher.
Sleep does help you grow, and it helps your brain get smarter and retain all of the fun facts and information that you've learned throughout the day.
Yeah.
I have a way that we can show our friends at home what thermal expansion really looks like.
Okay.
Just to help everybody remember.
Yeah.
What you guys are going to need at home is a bar of Ivory soap. This was one of my favorite soaps growing up because it's one of the only ones that actually floats in water. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it does that because of the way it's made. It's whipped, kind of like when we whipped our egg whites or when we whipped the batter for our pound cake.
It's kind of like whipped cream.
Well, it has pockets of air in it, and those pockets of air help it to float. It's also going to help us show you guys what thermal expansion looks like.
And it smells so cool.
Do you like the way it smells?
Yes.
Let me see. It does smell really good.
Wow.
I'll use our soap. We've got a microwave safe plate, and we're going to put it in the microwave.
Hey, don't we even use those?
Yeah, it's soap though. We'll wash it.
We use them for dinner.
Yeah, we can wash it though. So let's get our soap open.
What is?
Let me put that on the plate for me.
Wow. I like the smell.
Mm-hmm. Put it right here in the middle and let's get it.
Wow.
And let's get it into the microwave.
It can melt so fast.
You think it's going to melt? All right, that's a good, you know what? You bring up a really good point, Avery. Friends, what do you think is going to happen to our Ivory soap? What do you think, Avery?
I think
it'll melt. Remember, we're showing thermal expansion. And what does expansion mean?
Grow.
It means to grow. So do you think it's going to melt or grow?
Melt.
You still think it's going to melt? All right. Let's see. In the center. We're going to close it and give it 2 minutes. You ready? Friends, you can probably see what's going on. Does it look like it's melting, Avery?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Look.
I know, but is it shorter or taller than when we put it in there?
A little short.
You think it's shorter?
A little bit short.
Are you sure?
Just a little short.
Okay, we're counting down. We've got 50 seconds left. Let's see what happens as it continues to heat. So,
and it's very hot.
It's very hot. We did not use a microwave safe dish, so I'm going to have to get you a new plate to eat dinner out of. But as you can see, our Ivory soap split in half and it expanded.
But only right here has melted.
And it came out here. And then you can see on the underside where, remember I talked about the way it's made? It puts a bunch of holes in it. The air makes little hole pockets so you can see where all of that has expanded. I'm going to put this down because it's very, very hot.
Oh,
be careful, friends.
Yes, Mom?
Now, do you think you're going to remember what thermal expansion is?
Yes.
Good, because today we're going to...
Thermal means melt, and expansion means grow.
Thermal means heat.
Oh, and expansion means grow. Yes.
Perfect. Because today we're going to talk about things that rise using gas.
Oh.
Do you know what gases help our foods to rise?
No.
The most popular one is going to be carbon dioxide. Do you know what that is?
No, but I do have it on my tablet.
You've got it on your tablet? It talks about it?
Yeah, but it had Rosie Mosey, but now I don't have it anymore.
Well, carbon dioxide is also known as CO2, and that's what we breathe out.
But some people have been cutting the trees, but they give us oxygen. Some people don't know that trees give us oxygen.
Absolutely. Trees take in the CO2 that we breathe out and convert it back into oxygen. That's why they're so important. They help make clean and fresh air for us to breathe. So let's go ahead and get our mini science experiment cleaned up, and then we can get started on making our cinnamon rolls.
Let's do it.
One of the things that I like to do with the yeast before I actually mix it in with the dough is let it bloom.
Wow.
You know what that means? That we use our yeast and we put a little warm water in it to activate it, and then we have to feed it with something like sugar. And what it does is it helps it to grow before we put it into our flour.
But are you going to eat the cinnamon roll?
Of course, we're going to eat the cinnamon roll.
Okay.
Absolutely, kid.
I'm just making sure.
Yes. So here's the thing with yeast, though. It's got to be fresh in order for it to work.
Oh.
If it's not fresh, then it won't bloom. So, and the way it looks is it gets all nice and frothy. That won't happen if our yeast isn't fresh.
Wow.
So I do have some yeast that's not fresh, and I have some that is fresh. We're going to use those in a science experiment just so you guys can see how that works. But since our cinnamon rolls do need to sit and have time to rise before we cook them, let's go ahead and let's get started making those yummy, yummy cinnamon rolls. I like to use this method of blooming the yeast first, because that way I know that it's good and that my cinnamon rolls should rise. Because unfortunately, if your yeast isn't fresh, it may not rise. And then you get stuck with rock hard, unfluffy cinnamon rolls, and no one likes that.
Like a rock.
Like a rock. Yeah. Right. So Avery, let's go ahead, get started making our cinnamon rolls, because they do need some time to sit so that they can expand a little bit from the yeast. And let's get to the lab to do our science experiment.
Well, let's do it.
But before we do that, we must have our brains at work question.
Took them right out of your mouth.
You did. So friends and Avery, we talked about how carbon dioxide is a gas, and it's one that we breathe out every time we exhale, right?
Yeah, and if we don't have any trees, we'll be like.
And we've talked before about the different stages of matter. Do you remember what they are? That's a tricky question. Do you remember what they are?
Yes.
What are they?
Sweet, sour.
Those are not stages of matter. Stages of matter are. What is this?
Plants.
Is this a solid? Is it a liquid? Is it a gas? Oh. Do you remember what they are?
Yes.
Let me hear them.
Solid, liquid, gas.
Yes. Do you remember what the fourth one was?
Bubbles.
It's still not bubbles. It was plasma.
Bubbles.
So my question to you is, CO2 is a gas. Do you know what the solid form of carbon dioxide is?
Bubbles.
I'm going to get you. Bubbles is not a solid. Friends, what is your guess? What is the solid matter of carbon dioxide?
They say bubbles.
I did not say bubbles. We're going to give you a minute to think about that. And while you do, let's get our cinnamon rolls ready, and then we will catch up with you guys in the lab. So it's been about 10 minutes. This is our yeast. This is what it looks like now that it's bloomed. As you can see, it's nice and frothy. There's a dome on it. We're gonna go ahead, and we went from a cup and it's risen to almost to be about 2 cups. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, we're gonna add all of this together and get our cinnamon rolls all situated so that we can cover them and let them keep going. All right, ready, Avery?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Hi friends, so we're in the lab and we've got our next science experiment all set up. So Avery, in the kitchen, I told you that yeast needs 2 things in order to rise. Do you remember what those 2 things were?
heat and bread.
Food, which would be some type of sugar.
Oh, and by the way, Mom, what are these balloons for?
So what we did was, don't mix them up because I've got them laid out. What I've done was, this water bottle is cold and it has sugar. Does it have everything it needs for the yeast to grow?
I'm not sure.
So what did you tell me that it needed? It needs
Heat
and
grow.
Food.
Food.
So,
It needs heat and food.
so do you think this one will grow?
I don't know.
You don't know. We've got cold water and sugar in this one. We've got
Hot water.
hot water and sugar in this one.
And hot water.
And no sugar in that one. So,
And what's in this one?
Let me get these on here. In each one of our balloons.
And what's for this
I'm
one?
going to tell you, hold on. Each one of our balloons has yeast in it. So I'm going to put this balloon on. Wait. Because I don't want we don't want to dump it just yet. We're going to see which one's going to work the fastest, okay?
Okay.
And so this one doesn't it has hot water, but it doesn't have any sugar. Do you think this one will rise?
I don't know.
You don't know? And then this last one, remember I told you that your yeast has to be fresh or it won't work?
Yes. So that one's hot water.
So this is hot water?
Fresh.
And sugar, but this is old yeast.
Oh.
So this one's not fresh anymore. So do you think
That
this
one is going to go slow.
You think this one will go really slow?
Yeah. It's really
So which one do you think is going to go the fastest?
I do not know.
Which one do you think is going to go the slowest?
That one.
Okay. I'm going to give you these 2. I'm going to count to 3, and we're going to lift and let the yeast pour in. Ready? You got your 2 over there. 1.
But I wanted to do that one. I like it.
1. Avery, do the 2 closest to you. Yes.
I wanted that one.
Okay. We're getting them mixed up. We're not going to remember what's what. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. So what you want to do is hold them straight up and make sure that your yeast gets in there. Like all my yeast is getting stuck in the balloon. I'm going to do a little swirly swirl.
Me too. I see.
And then we're going to see, ooh. So this is yeast with no sugar. There's a little air in my balloon. So this one was yeast, no sugar. This one, I believe, was yeast and sugar. This This is the old yeast, yes?
Ew.
This is the fresh yeast with sugar. And then this is cold water with sugar and yeast. So when we were doing our cinnamon rolls, listen. I know, it's okay, it's okay. So when we were doing our cinnamon rolls inside, and I told you we were going to let our yeast bloom. Do you remember about how long it took for our yeast to bloom?
4.
It took roughly about 10 minutes for it to fully bloom and do what it needed to do. We're back. We've given it about 10 minutes. And
That one bloomed.
It did. This is the one that had the fresh yeast, sugar, and the hot water. So this one, as you can tell, yeah, and it's bloomed. It's even higher than all of the others. This was our cold water, yeast, and sugar.
My first one.
It did not do anything. This one was our hot water and yeast, no sugar.
And that was hers.
It didn't do anything. And then this was our old yeast with sugar and hot water.
And that was also my mommy's, and that one was mine.
And there's a little bit of, you can tell like I'm squeezing it, there's a little bit of something in there. Unlike these, which are just completely flat. Do you feel how it kind of has a little squish to it?
This thing is nuts.
But do you feel, like if you do it, squeeze it, you feel how there's a little air in there? But there's none in this one or in this one. There's a little bit. There's a little. But that's a pretty solid balloon.
I can't even pop it.
I know it. It's pretty cool. It's all leaning sideways.
I think I want to pop it.
Don't pop it. There we go.
I want to pop it with my scissors.
Don't pop it.
I
So
popped it.
Avery, we've got the carbon dioxide released by the yeast, by the hot water in the yeast, and then fed with sugar, made the balloon rise.
Yeah.
Good job. Science, Avery.
And
So let me ask you a question.
make sure I put on this so that you'll be a scientist.
Got you. Okay. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, Mom.
Huh?
Science, Mom.
So do you remember the brains at work question?
No.
Brains at work question is, what is the solid form of carbon dioxide?
That one.
No, this is still a gas. This is us showing the gas, right? Friends at home, you've had some time.
Wait, guys, it looks like beep, 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 beep. A horn. It looks like a horn.
It looks like one of those horns that you can, it does.
Because only those horns have this.
I know it. Okay, so back to the brains at work question.
Sorry, I was really distracted.
Yes, you were. It's okay. So friends, you've had a moment. What do you guys think? What is the solid form of CO2?
Bubbles.
Still not bubbles. It's actually called dry ice.
Bubbles.
You know what dry ice is? What is dry ice?
Bubbles.
Not bubbles. Dry ice is compressed carbon dioxide that is super, super cold. So cold, in fact, that if you touched it with your bare hands, it would burn you. That's how cold it is.
It would pop like bubbles.
Did you know that something could be so cold that it could burn?
Yes.
You did?
I did know of fire bubbles.
Fire bubbles, huh? All right.
Bubbles!
All right, let's go ahead and get to the kitchen so that we can finish our cinnamon. All right, friends, we're back and we've got our cinnamon rolls
ready
nice and
to
frosted,
go.
and we're
and
ready to taste. You ready, Avery?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. That's good.
Yeah.
You took a little bite?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Can I have yours?
No.
All right, on a scale of 100. What are you giving me?
I'm giving it 100.
You giving me 100?
Yeah.
As you can tell, it's got that nice sponge to it.
What sponge?
See how when you pinch it, it's a little spongy? It's not like hard and dense. Sometimes that happens with gluten-free baking, but we sifted our flour to help add some air into it. We made sure to bloom our yeast. So we knew that it was nice and active before we put it in, and we got amazing results. Don't you think? Now, when we make these, we don't ice all of them at once. We usually will freeze them so that we can kind of meal prep them for breakfast and eat them throughout the month.
Well, my dad says that I have to eat all my food and then I get one.
These are going to be a little different. We used agave syrup as opposed to regular table syrup for our sweetener, and coconut sugar as well, so it doesn't spike your glucose.
Can I eat that part?
No, you have a whole nother part. Well, friends,
it's so yummy. I want to eat the other ones.
I'm sure you do. All right, friends, thanks for joining us. We hope you learned something new today and that you'll give these cinnamon rolls a try. Thanks for coming in. Don't forget to
like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And Bubbles!
Bubbles. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bubbles! God loves you too. And God always will love you.